Chapter 51 Encounter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Unkage felt a strong sense of guilt. He wanted to lure a promising little monster without a team into his team with just a mobile phone. What's the difference between her current appearance and those weird uncles who used lollipops to lure ignorant girls? Morality. Oh. What do you need morality for? However, why didn't he react at all? After a few seconds, Zhong Yuan was still silent, and Cage said with an embarrassed expression, I just said it casually. In fact, Zhong Yuan was really considering whether to join a certain Xuanming team in the future. The instructor already knew that he became a Xuanming. Next, the transfer of auditors to regular students should be put on the agenda. If you want to upgrade your ability, you must enter the Fangjie to obtain Su crystals. Without the consent of the military region, you can't enter anywhere. Poaching. Don't even think about it, it's a dead end. The black market price is too high, and the rare Su crystals are all in the hands of the country. Even someone like Feng Yuma had to ask Encage for help to get so many Ghost Trench Badger crystals. Who is Encage? The captain of a team of Su Ninja might have a military position like Lin Dongliang. After thinking about it, it seems that the only way out is to join the Su Ninja team. Zhong Yuan pondered for a long time and asked, Captain, what is your military rank? Major. Xiong Yuba couldn't help but interrupt. There are a total of 3 captains of Su Ninja in East China who have been appointed as majors, and our captain is the youngest one. Encage was embarrassed. It's not that exaggerated. It's just one level higher than most captains. After Xiong Yuba interrupted, she suddenly regained confidence and said with a smile, Xuanming, I'm serious. If you don't have a team you particularly want to join, you might as well consider our Ares team. I'm in the military region. Well, I still have some say. I won't treat you unfairly. Zhong Yuan pretended not to see the light flashing in her big eyes, and said lightly, Thank you for your invitation, I will seriously consider it. Still not possible. If it were someone else, they would definitely agree. Doesn't he know the reputation of the Ares team? Encage's father is the commander of the East China military region. This matter is not a secret within the country, and it can be found out with a simple check. She has never relied on her father's power to get to her current position. Feng Yumo was born in the southern military region. Most of them have to go back to inherit the family business, and it is unlikely that they will join the Ares team, but Xuanming is different. Judging from his accent, he should be a local of Shandong City. As long as his father issues a transfer order, he can transfer people to the Ares team. Encage was entangled. Xuanming didn't want to come, and forcing him to come would definitely cause resentment. If you want him to join the team willingly, you need to work harder and get his approval. The invitation to join the team was passed. According to Encage's judgment, there are still accomplices of the poachers in the Fangjie. Because the 2 dead people didn't have a single ruined crystal on them. She wanted to hear Zhong Yuan's opinion, so she asked, Xuanming, what do you think we should do next? Zhong Yuan said without hesitation, wait here. The remaining poachers will not run away when they find that their companions are not coming back. Instead, they will find ways to deal with us with more thunderous means. Before that, they should return to the camp to investigate the cause of their companion's death. We just need to wait. Xiong Yuba said puzzledly, shouldn't they run away quickly after their companions were killed? Why did they come back? Zhong Yuan said, after killing the garrison and staying in Fangjie for so long, they must have prepared to be discovered. There are a large number of Xuanming people outside waiting in full battle array. If they force their way out, they will only suffer heavy losses. As long as we are captured alive, they will have the capital to negotiate. They can completely exchange our lives for the opportunity to leave China. Zhong Yuan said seriously, if it were me, I would definitely seek to negotiate to leave. This analysis was well-founded, and Xiong Yuba said sincerely, Xuanming, how old are you this year? Why do I feel that you don't look like a junior high school student at all? Too miserable. A college student was reborn as a high school student, but in the eyes of Lao Xiong, he was downgraded to a junior high school student. Zhong Yuan couldn't help it and said angrily, a high school student. Xiong Yuba scratched his hair and smiled innocently, sorry, you are too short, I thought you were in junior high school. You should eat more meat to grow taller. Zhong Yuan is now 1.7 meters tall, and he thinks he is tall among his age. However, Xiong Yuba is 1.92 meters, forget it, I won't bother with him about whether he is tall or not, and Cage screamed wildly in his heart, Lao Xiong, you did a good job. Since Xuanming is a high school student, he is either a student of Chengying or Hualing. There are 2 schools in Shandong City that train Suning people. If you go back and check, you will know whether there is one, and Cage said excitedly, Xuanming makes sense. Now let's vote. Those who agree to stay put and wait for the rabbit to come, raise your hands. Everyone raised their hands. Zhong Yuan was surprised. The God of War team is quite special. When making decisions, we discuss democratically, rather than the captain making subjective decisions. This atmosphere is really good. It turns out that the decision to stay put is quite correct. 15 minutes later, 4 foreigners in camouflage uniforms came to the camp. Each of them carried a bulging backpack, and it looked like they had gained a lot. The leading foreigner was about 40 years old, with chestnut curly hair. Although he was Caucasian, his skin was tanned to a healthy wheat color. He was burly, and even a few centimeters taller than Xiong Yuba. Seeing the Ares team waiting leisurely, while his companions died on the ground with their brains all over the floor, the foreigner was not furious, but politely saluted and Cage. I knew that the Chinese military would send powerful people to intercept them. I am very glad that the person who came was Li, the beautiful Miss and Cage, that his Chinese was quite fluent, and most people could understand him, and Cage did not appreciate it at all, and said coldly, you are a loser, and your whole family is losers. That she used Lian Li's ability to say to all the team members, this person is Robs, the former captain of the Navy SEALs of the Lighthouse country. He is good at close combat and has great strength. Robs had not learned the extended meaning of lose, thinking that Cage was greeting him and his family. He nodded politely and said, thank you for Li's blessing. I also wish Li's whole family good luck. Cage said coldly, your sister is bad. I don't have a sister. Robs was not angry at all, and continued to smile, Miss and Cage, we Lighthouse people have always put precedence before fighting. I have always admired the capable people in China, especially beautiful ladies like Li. Why don't we sit down and talk first? Negotiate? What Xuanming said. Cage pondered in silence. At this time, Mao Wei stared at a person standing behind Robs and said coldly, Zhao Zheng, I didn't expect you to be a running dog for the Lighthouse country. The country spent a lot of effort to train you, and finally trained a white-eyed wolf. Chapter 52, even if they are far away, they must be punished and must die without a doubt. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Zheng once belonged to the Sharp Knife Squad of the Central China Theater. I heard that a year ago, he had a conflict with the team leader, and after voluntarily quitting the team, he disappeared. When they met again, they became enemies. The Shenangjia Square boundary falls under the jurisdiction of the Central China War Zone. Zhao Zheng is very familiar with this place. With him providing information, it is no wonder that the poachers from the Lighthouse country easily killed the defenders of Fangjia. After showing up, Zhao Zheng kept his head down and acted very low-key. When Mao Wei recognized him, he simply stopped pretending, raised his head and sneered. What kind of training? Just because I was unwilling to hand over the Su Jing, I was ruthlessly suppressed, all resources were taken away, and all achievements were wiped out. To put it bluntly, ordinary team members like us are cannon fodder in the eyes of captain-level people and can be expendable. But in the Lighthouse country, a Su ability user like me who only has 2 abilities is treated with courtesy. Women. Money. Reputation. You can have whatever you want. The most important thing is that the supply of Su crystals has never been cut off. I think whatever you want, give it to me for free. I am now a strong man who has absorbed 5 abilities. And what about you? Ha. Cage, I remember you only have 3 abilities. So what if you kill 2 people? They are the weakest in our team, yes. I advise you to vote as soon as possible. Before he could finish his words, a flying knife flew through the air silently. The speed was too fast and too sudden. He didn't even finish what he said before attacking suddenly. how can there be such a thing? When did the powerful people in China stop being moral? Zhao Zheng was so angry that the hairs on his body stood up, feeling an unprecedented death crisis approaching. Help! That he spoke poor English and appealed to his companions for help. Just when the flying knife was about to hit Zhao Zheng's eyebrow, it seemed to be affected by some strange force and lost its forward momentum. The blade made a soft buzzing sound, and the flying knife fell straight to the ground. A black man with dreadlocks standing next to Zhao Zheng sneered, "The hairy monkey from China is just unreliable. He can't even deal with it with a knife." Ability, supercharge, specify a target and recharge energy. This is a very rare ability. It is a good auxiliary skill when used on people. When used on moving objects, it can affect the direction and balance of movement. In addition, supercharging can also assist combustion, explosion, and conduction to achieve various destructive purposes. The flying knife that was attacking Zhao Zheng was supercharged in reverse, which offset its forward momentum and finally became unable to fly. After surviving the disaster, Zhao Zheng couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Unfortunately, he couldn't understand English so fast, so he could only thank his companions for saving him. 3 grams of oil. The black man shrugged his shoulders mockingly, not hiding his disdain. Zhao Zheng didn't notice anything unusual at all, but instead glared at Zhong Yuan fiercely. "Boy! You dare to plot against me? You are dead." Robuz frowned and bent down to pick up the flying knife that fell on the ground. After looking at it for a few times, he praised, "China's forging technology is still so superb and impressive. It's a pity that such a good knife was used by someone without grace. It's a waste of money to use." This time he spoke English instead of broken Chinese. Moreover, even though Zhao Zheng was attacked by surprise, he still looked calm, showing no signs of falling out with Encage. Zhong Yuan's heart sank slightly. Fly a knife first to test the opponent's strength. If you can kill one, count them all. It's a pity that he didn't succeed. These 4 people are indeed stronger than the 2 dead ghosts before. Moreover, in the face of such an obvious provocation, he remained unmoved and continued to waste time by talking trash. What on earth were he planning? On the other side, Encage had a huge headache. Daily cultivation is important, and everything about English depends on the translator. There was no translator now, so she didn't understand a word Rob said. Among the team, Mao Wei has the highest academic qualifications, and Cage asked hurriedly, "Old Mao, what did he say?" However, Mao Wei only understood a few words and whispered, "It seems to be praising the quality of Xuanming's flying knives." At this time, Zhong Yuan had no expression on his face and said in fluent English, "Anyone who offends our country, China, will be punished no matter how far away he is. Anyone who rebels against our country, China, will definitely die." As a top student at Shandong University, he has already passed CT8 in English, so daily conversations are no problem at all. Zhao Zheng looked angry. Even if he didn't understand, he knew that what he said was not a good thing. Robles, however, had the exact opposite reaction. Zhong Yuan's spoken English was so fluent that his goodwill skyrocketed. Rob Bus spoke quickly and murmured, "Little guy, you are very good. Originally, I just wanted to leave Miss An alone to survive. Since you speak English so well, I forgive you for your rude attack just now, and sincerely invite you if you join the Great Lighthouse country. I guarantee that your treatment will be better than that of Zhao. What do you think?" Encage has a special status and can only be used as a bargaining chip in negotiations and cannot be taken away. The same is not true for the people under her. Zhao Zheng has been in the Lighthouse country for more than a year, but his English is still poor. In the team, only Robs can communicate with him, and it is extremely difficult for others to talk to him. What is the most important thing about a team? It's not about ability, it's about communication. If it weren't for the fact that Zhao Zheng was familiar with the situation in China and was the key to this mission, Robuz would have kicked him out of the team long ago. Seeing Robuz taking the initiative to talk to Zhong Yuan, Encage asked hurriedly, "What did he say?" Zhong Yuan glanced at Anshueja with disdain and said lightly, "He praised my good English and wanted to take me to the Lighthouse country to develop, and kick Zhao Zheng out by the way. By the way, he also said that except for Captain and everyone else in our team can be killed." Really? Encage widened her eyes. She ignored the latter sentence, and her mind was full of Rob's poaching. Great. Bullying me for not understanding, actually poaching my people in front of me. Zhong Yuan, who is your people? Xuanming is so young, what if he is really moved by the sky-high chips offered by the lighthouse country? Unkage stammered, Xuanming, what's your answer? Zhao Zheng's heart was also hanging, no way. Captain Robs wants to pull this kid into the team, and kick me out. Zhao Zheng yelled angrily, you are talking nonsense. You are trying to sow discord. Yes, it is just trying to sow discord, so what? Zhong Yuan ignored Unkage, but boldly walked to Robs, stretched out his hand and said, give me back my knife. Robs smiled slightly, and began to show off his Chinese proudly again. What does the Chinese say? He who knows the times is a hero. Although Li is young, he is very smart. Happy meal. As he said that, he handed the flying knife he picked up to Zhong Yuan. Thank you. Zhong Yuan also smiled, the atmosphere was very friendly. Zhao Zheng couldn't help but panic, it's not really that he has no me, right? However, the next moment, something strange happened. A beam of light suddenly hit Zhong Yuan, making him look like he was shrouded in holy light, looking extremely sacred. Auxiliary skills, blessing, increased the target's ability by 20%, lasting 10 seconds. Zhong Yuan was delighted, this auxiliary skill is awesome. Although Wu Jun is a bit wretched, he is very smart and never hesitates when he needs to assist. Kill. For flying knives are launched at the same time, faster than usual. More ruthless. More accurate. At this time, Robs and others are less than 5 meters away from Zhong Yuan, just within the control range of Ningbing. Freeze. Ningbing. Chapter 53 Xuanming died on the spot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the saying goes, the more skilled you are, the more courageous you are. If you fail to sneak attack at such a close distance, you will definitely suffer a crazy counterattack. Only Zhong Yuan, relying on his already dead physique, dared to do this, and Unkage had long seen that Robs was stalling for time and trying to split the God of War team. Unfortunately, he really couldn't find an opportunity to attack. Zhong Yuan acted privately, just breaking the balance between the two teams before the battle. On the other side, the people of the lighthouse country never expected that Zhong Yuan was so insidious. He smiled in the last second, and took action directly in the next second. Ice fell, everything within a 5-meter range was frozen. Even if he was not frozen, how many people could dodge the flying knife thrown at such a close distance? Zhao Zheng groaned in pain, and finally couldn't escape the fate of death, a flying knife accurately inserted into his forehead. No matter how much power he absorbed after joining the lighthouse country, it was useless at this time. Another flying knife pierced the heart of the black man with dreadlocks. He didn't have time to use supercharging, and the knife had completely sunk into his chest. As long as you pull it out, the end result is death on the spot. In addition to these two people, there is a dwarf next to him who was also stabbed on the spot and fell to the ground neatly, dead or alive. The 3 people in the back row were killed at the same time, and their deaths were outrageous and meaningless. Robs was completely stunned. In just a few dozen seconds, his ability, the Flame Giant, can be activated. At that time, it will be no problem to easily kill the God of War team. Who would have thought that the Chinese, who have always been the most martial, would suddenly plot against their usual behavior and kill 3 people directly? The team that was finally formed is gone. It takes time and resources to recruit new members. Even if they return to the lighthouse country after this meritorious service, they will inevitably be criticized by the Pentagon. Robs was finally enraged. The flying knife hit his forehead, making a sound of metal and stone cracking, and finally bounced out. Die. Robs took a step forward, and his saws actually stepped on the ground with a 10 mm deep footprint. At the same time, he exerted force from his waist and punched out. Ability, huge strength. It comes from the alien one-eyed mammoth, and is a unique ability of the lighthouse country. Robs focused on fighting when he was a teenager. Before he became a Su Neng, he had already won the gold belt of the middleweight boxing champion of the lighthouse country. Huge strength was the first ability he absorbed, and it was also the main information deliberately exposed to other countries. In order to test how powerful his huge strength was, the lighthouse country conducted many secret experiments. Rob's most proud record was that he once killed a genetically cloned Tyrannosaurus Rex with one punch. He has a boxing champion-level combat awareness, invincible strength and rapid speed. He does not need to use any cold weapons. He himself is the strongest weapon. The iron fist came with a strange hot wind, and Zhong Yuan's pupils shrank slightly, so fast. Condensation of ice is ineffective against this person. It is too late to start the furious attack. Moreover, Zhong Yuan does not think that the furious attack at this stage can resist Rob's fist. The opponent's pressure is too strong. In fact, the lighthouse country also has a ranking of the capable people. They don't have any youth rankings, but only a general ranking. Rob's ranks 99th among the capable people in the lighthouse country, and is recognized as a powerful person with strength. Boom! Zhong Yuan was hit and flew backwards on the spot, crashing straight into a tree more than 10 meters away. The huge tree that two people couldn't hug together was broken in the middle. He fell to the ground after flying a few more meters. The series of changes made in Cage dazzled. After being stunned for half a second, she screamed loudly, "Old Wu! Treatment! Old Xiong, attack! Zhan Hong, support!" As soon as the order was issued, Xiong Yuba roared and rushed towards Robs at a high speed. At this time, Robs couldn't fight back in time, and just exposed a flaw. Xiong Yuba spread his arms and hugged the other party fiercely. At the same time, his arms were like inflated balloons, swelled up terrifyingly. Ability, Qilin arm. Rob's was held tightly, his bones were creaking, and he couldn't get rid of it for a while. In terms of strength, Xiong Yuba's Qilin arm was comparable to his strength. The two giants hugged each other. The scene was funny, but it was a life-and-death contest. Zhan Hong saw this and seized the opportunity to raise his crossbow. 3 consecutive arrows whizzed out and went straight to Rob's forehead. Ability, penetration. This move is specifically designed to break the defense ability, and the strongest shield will be broken. As long as it hits, Robs can be killed. That's why Zhan Hong tried every means to practice shooting flying saucers. His ability requires too much accuracy. The fatal crisis came. Robs knew that the critical moment had come, and if he hesitated any longer, he would also be defeated in China. Fortunately, the time for transformation has come. Flame Giant. With a low roar, Rob's body erupted like a volcano, releasing huge heat energy. Xiong Yuba's sleeves had long been torn by the Qilin arm. The incredibly strong arms were exposed, and the moment they came into contact with the heat, they were immediately burned violently. What happened? Xiong Yuba endured the pain, and looked at Robs again. He had turned into a blazing fireman. The clothes and backpack on his body were all burned, and a large amount of ruins crystals were scattered on him. At this time, Robs was no longer human. His body was made up of thousands of degrees of high-temperature flames. 3 consecutive arrows penetrated his flaming body and instantly melted into molten iron. This is one of the secret weapons of the lighthouse country, a terrifying ability that has never been made public, the Flame Giant. Everyone who has seen this move, without exception, died. Xiong Yuba howled in pain. His arms were deeply burned and he couldn't even lift them. He hurriedly retreated, but Robs took advantage of the situation and rushed towards Xiong Yuba with wind and fire. The competition between the Xuanming people was so cruel. In just a few seconds, the situation took a sharp turn for the worse, and the God of War team was facing the crisis of annihilation. On the other side, Wu Jun had already released the healing wind for Zhong Yuan before Nkage gave the order. As the only person in the team who knew that Xuanming was the 68th on the youth list, Wu Jun knew very well that Xuanming would never be moved by the inducement of the lighthouse country. The purpose of actively approaching was to use that freezing control skill, a sneak attack. No problem. Robs even said that he would only spare Nkage's life. If he didn't take action, would he wait to be beaten by the people of the lighthouse country? At this moment, Wu Jun showed the strongest quality of a medical assistant, and he almost reached the point of telepathy with Zhong Yuan. Just when Zhong Yuan was about to launch an attack, Wu Jun cast a blessing on him. Success. He really killed the 3 people on the opposite side. However, Rob's defense was too abnormal. causing the sneak attack to fail. Xuanming. Hold on. You will be fine. Wu Jun was extremely anxious and rushed to his side at the fastest speed, but found that his chest was hit with a terrible dent as deep as a bull. Even if the healing wind blew, it was too late. Wu Jun's whole body was shaking, his hands trembled slightly, and he tried to feel Zhong Yuan's breath, gone. A future top powerhouse of China died under Rob's iron fist. Stupid. 1 for 3, not worth it. Wu Jun closed his eyes in pain, unable to bear to watch the boy's death. In fact, at this time, Zhong Yuan was using regeneration to repair the injured eyeball. The glasses were broken again, and the broken lenses pierced into the eyes, which was a bit uncomfortable. Wu Jun thought I was dead. If I greet him now, will he be scared to death? The wound on his chest actually didn't prevent Zhong Yuan from continuing to fight. He didn't even need to regenerate, and he could just get up and continue fighting. He thought about it and decided to see what the situation was. What if Robs had some other tricks up his sleeve? His eyes regenerated quickly, and Zhong Yuan quietly opened a slit. Then he was surprised to see that Robs, who had transformed into a fire giant, had started the devastating and bullying mode. Chapter 54, Not Lost Yet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Robuz was alone against 3, but he was not in a bad situation, and he took the leading position. Xiong Yuba's unicorn arm was broken, and his combat effectiveness was greatly reduced. Zhan Hong's penetrating ability was originally a killer for surprise attacks, but facing Rob's flaming body, it was useless. As for Mao Wei and Wu Jun, the 2 assistants, the main C and the team couldn't do anything to Rob's, so it was useless for them to assist. And Cage's face was pale, and he didn't care. Whether Zhong Yuan was dead or alive, he took such a heavy punch, and it was very dangerous. Rob's ability was simply at the foul level. He could resist an entire army by himself. If this continued, the whole team would be wiped out. And Cage's voice was trembling, and he yelled to Wu Jun, "Heal the old bear," that the situation was critical, and Wu Jun had to leave Zhong Yuan behind and go straight to Xiong Yuba. Healing wind. Blessing. Super camouflage. The 3 abilities were applied to Xiong Yuba together. His figure immediately disappeared from Rob's sight. It's useless. After turning into a fire giant, Rob's voice also became low. Now, he has a super high temperature body of several thousand degrees, which can detect the temperature changes in the air and achieve an effect similar to thermal sensing. Even if the super camouflage deceives vision, he can still identify Xiong Yuba's position. Xiong Yuba is very strong. If he fights with strength, the chance of winning is 50-50. As long as he is killed, the others are not to be feared. The healing wind quickly heals Xiong Yuba's injured arms. The blood bubbles and burns gradually faded away. Xiong Yuba mustered his strength, used the Qilin arm again, and bravely ran towards Robs. "Captain. I'll hold him back. You guys go. Escape from the realm, spread the news, and mobilize the Xuanming who restrained Robs to come to encircle and suppress." Xiong Yuba is determined to sacrifice himself in exchange for the life of his companions, and Cage saw what he was thinking and gritted his teeth. "No. I can't leave you behind." However, at this time, Xiong Yuba had hugged the fireman again and screamed in pain, "Don't be stupid. Obey and leave quickly." Mao Wei anxiously grabbed Cage and shouted, "Captain. Old Xiong is right. We can't deal with the fireman. Retreat." Wu Jun had already arrived, his eyes full of bloodshot, and shouted, "I'll stay to cover the retreat. Zhan Hong, you go too. Take the body of brother Xuanming, send him home. Hurry. I can't hold on anymore." Xiong Yuba's voice was intermittent. Under the ultra-high temperature burning, he suffered great pain in just a few seconds, and his skin was close to deep burns. Wu Jun immediately treated him, "Old Xiong, I will accompany you to the end." Healing wind. The wind full of greenery blew, but the speed of treatment was far behind the speed of high-temperature damage. Robs looked at them with the eyes of an ant, and sighed, "Wouldn't it be better to die obediently? You have to struggle. Being burned alive is very painful. Missin, you can rest assured that I will spare your life." Not lost yet, Cage's eyes were burning with fighting spirit, full of unyielding color. As a captain, how could he not have a trick up his sleeve? Cage has a total of 3 abilities, Lianli, Synergy, and Mental Resonance. Lianli is the telepathic ability of the command system, Synergy is more special, and can randomly copy an ability of the target by touching it, which lasts for 24 hours, and Mental Resonance is a rare wide-area mental attack skill. When it is performed, it does not distinguish between friend and foe, and the range can reach 500 meters. This move consumes a lot of energy for Cage, and can only be performed once a month. Generally speaking, the constitution of the Su Neng is different, and they have different affinities to Su Jing. For example, Robs is a Su Neng who is more of a power type, so it is difficult for him to absorb Su Jing of the control system or the mental system. Although this has not been verified by laboratories in various countries, it is a potential law recognized by most of the Su Neng people. Cage made a desperate move and said frantically, "I don't believe that you have the ability to resist mental attacks. Everyone get ready. I'm going to start." As soon as the voice fell, invisible shock waves spread outward rapidly with her as the center. Indiscriminate attack began. Mental Resonance. Not only Robs, but also the God of War team was hit hard, and instantly had a splitting headache. Wu Jun endured the headache and immediately put a blessing on everyone. Blessing can increase the ability by 20%, of course, including the ability to resist mental attacks. The shock wave is like a sledgehammer, constantly hitting in the minds of everyone, one hammer after another. As time goes by, the power is superimposed together, and it will eventually destroy people's will, with companions present. Cage did not dare to use it for a long time. After only 5 seconds, she put away her ability and stopped attacking. At this moment, the flames on Rob's body have been extinguished, revealing a naked body. However, he did not fall down, but just rolled his eyes. His expression was frozen, and he stood straight, in front of Rob's. Xiong Yuba still maintained a heroic posture of not letting go. His body was black, and he exuded the smell of burnt barbecue. Wu Jun had the strongest resistance to mental attacks, and he recovered first, rushed forward and separated Xiong Yuba and Robs. It was too tragic. The old bear had never been injured so badly. He was big, thick-skinned, and he was still alive. Wu Jun exhaled a breath of turbid air tiredly. Fortunately, Cage activated the mental resonance in time, forcing Robs to exit the flame man, otherwise Xiong Yuba would have died. After a few seconds, Robs still did not move. It can be confirmed that he was knocked unconscious by the mental resonance. Very good. His weakness is indeed mental attack. Cage felt that his strength was drained out and he could hardly stand up. He said with difficulty, "Zhanhong, Lao Mao, you two go and arrest him. Don't let him run away." To be on the safe side, 2 people went over. In order to cooperate with Cage's ability, the God of War team has been regularly training against mental attacks. After a round of resonance, at least they will not faint like Robs. Zhanhong and Mao Wei took out handcuffs and metal straps for restraints, endured the dizziness and discomfort, and approached Robs carefully. While Wu Jun was giving Xiong Yuba emergency treatment, he urged, "Hurry up. Delay will change." Continuously using various treatment and auxiliary abilities, the consumption is huge. If Robs is defeated and resurrected, he will be the first to collapse. Zhanhong and Mao Wei hurriedly accelerated their movements. Click. The silver-white handcuffs imprisoned Rob's hands. The metal straps used for restraints were wrapped around his body again and again, and they were wrapped like a mummy before they stopped. The metal straps were specially made and would not deform even at thousands of degrees of high temperature. It should be fine if it was tied so tightly. Wu Jun was sad and sighed, "Brother Xuanming, what a pity." Cage was also upset. If Xuanming hadn't killed 3 people, they would definitely not have won. Xuanming and Lao Xiong have made the greatest contributions in this operation. After returning, I will apply for first-class merit for them. No one objected. The next step was to deal with the aftermath. Cage took out his mobile phone and began to contact Song Jiangwo, who was guarding outside. Wu Jun continued to treat the charged Xiong Yuba, and Zhanhong recovered the ruins crystals scattered on the ground. Mao Wei ran to collect the body of someone who died in the battle. Zhong Yuan's mood was a little subtle, and Cage's mental resonance was indeed powerful. and he actually beat Robs, who had turned into a fire giant, back to his original form. Now that the matter was resolved, he was also killed. Should I die first, lie in the morgue, and then quietly leave? Or should I get up and give them a surprise, and then tell them that I am immune to death? Zhong Yuan began to struggle. Suddenly, a camouflage uniform full of sweat and stench covered his face. What a dead person's treatment. At this moment, the coffin lid of the golden coffin could not be held down. Because he did not need to breathe, Zhong Yuan's sense of smell was not very good, but who could bear to have dirty clothes directly against his face, and they were still wet? Just when he was about to show his cards, Robs, who was tied up tightly, suddenly moved his eyes and regained consciousness. Boom. The burly body was ablaze with flames, and the momentum was even greater than before. In the battle just now, Robs was only a 2-meter-tall fire giant, but now it has expanded to an incredible height of 2.5 meters. He did not say anything, and with lightning speed, he slammed into Xuanming not far away. The latter was caught off guard and didn't even have time to scream before he was knocked out and turned into a charred humanoid. The handcuffs and restraints melted instantly. Robs roared repeatedly, "For the great lighthouse country, I will win." Chapter 55, Get out of here, you burden. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Both metal handcuffs and restraints are made of special alloys. What does it mean to melt in an instant? It means that after Robs turned into a flame giant again, the temperature of his body was much higher than before. Moreover, he recovered from the coma so quickly. What a terrible willpower. Robs roared repeatedly, "For the glory of the lighthouse country." He said this sentence several times in various languages, like self-hypnosis, without stopping, and Cage endured the weakness and cursed, "Glory your sister. Running to other people's homes and poaching rare aliens, you are also worthy of talking about glory?" She cursed without hesitation, but she kept shouting bad in her heart. What should I do? What should I do? The worst situation has appeared. She was unable to perform mental resonance again. One team member died and 2 were injured. The rest could not fight Rogers head-on. Was she going to watch them being killed? Cage was soaked in cold sweat, and her trump cards were exhausted. Only negotiation was left. Robs was proud for a moment, and his drowsy consciousness perked up again. He immediately found that something was wrong with him, and the flames on his body were far more powerful than in normal state. Rob's heart trembled, as if he was talking to Cage, or talking to himself. Is there still room for maneuver? I have entered the second stage, the Super Flame Giant mode. In this mode, the temperature is 10,000 degrees. My cells can't withstand the transformation, and I can never recover to flesh and blood. In a few minutes at most, I will die. The mission has failed. But before I die, at least I have to destroy you. I want to eliminate potential enemies for the lighthouse country. I will eliminate as many as I can. Including you, Miss Cage. I'm sorry, Joanna, Dad can't go back. Forgive Dad. He spoke a lot of English. Cage only understood her name. Then, she looked at Robs blankly as he turned into a wall of fire. The flames became more and more fierce. After breaking through the height of 3 meters, it rose again and finally reached a height of 4 meters, and Cage was in despair. Is this still a human? Can his ability be infinitely improved? At this time, Robs had already aimed at Wu Jun, who was treating Xiong Yuba. Kill the medic first. He rushed over with big strides. Every step left a charred footprint on the ground. As the terrifying heat wave approached, Wu Jun was sweating profusely and was extremely nervous. Behind him was Xiong Yuba, who had been burned to charcoal. He couldn't escape. If he escaped, what would happen to the old bear? Once the treatment stopped, he would die. Wu Jun, who was always introverted and serious, showed the most handsome smile in his life at this time. Come on. There are no cowards among us in Wagwaksu. Cage's tears burst out, and he screamed at Robs, "Stop. I can go with you. Please, don't kill them." Robs turned a deaf ear. At this moment, a helpless voice sounded from the ground. How can you beg your enemy? Didn't you hear him say that he can only live for a few more minutes at most, and he is going to take all of us to die with him? What? Unkage was completely stunned, staring at the person who was talking not far away. There, a guy who had been judged dead half sat up, the stinky clothes covering his face slipped to his waist, finally freed. For Zhong Yuan, the stinky clothes might be a little more lethal. Regeneration, that he uttered these two words gently, and the sunken part of his chest bulged again at a speed visible to the naked eye, and it returned to its original state in less than a few seconds. Everyone was stunned. Even Robs, who was ready to kill, stopped moving and couldn't react. What a good opportunity. Zhong Yuan shouted at Wu Jun, "Old Wu, what are you doing? Take Lao Xiong and run. You haven't broken your hands or feet. Xuanming, you are not dead. You are not dead." Wu Jun danced with excitement. Zhong Yuan's resurrection from the dead was like a shot of cardiotonic, giving him hope again. Wu Jun grabbed the charcoal bear and rushed towards him at an incredible speed. He was obviously dead, but suddenly resurrected. This ability is... It's death immunity. Robs looked solemn. "I didn't expect you to have such a precious ability." Zhong Yuan neither admitted nor denied, and approached step by step, saying calmly, "The Lighthouse country has always advocated freedom, fairness, and justice. In this case, let's compete alone and don't implicate others. That if I win, you die. If I lose, well, you still die." Without the black-framed glasses, the boy gave people a completely different feeling. After 2 seconds of silence, Rob said in a deep voice, "You are right. The great lighthouse spirit will live forever. I accept your proposal." Zhong Yuan smiled slightly. "In this way, it can be ensured that the members of the God of War team leave alive." He turned to Unkage and said, "Why don't you retreat quickly? The farther the better." Unkage shuddered and said in a trembling voice, "Xuanming, you will die. You will really die." "No. Remember you asked me about my strength before." Zhong Yuan fumbled in his pocket and finally took out a black badge. "It would be troublesome if this thing melted in the battle. Keep it for me first and return it to me later." Zhong Yuan threw the thing to the girl, and Unkage looked down and saw a badge. "It's so crudely made, it's definitely not a copycat." "You." Unkage's body was shaken violently. The impact of the badge in front of her was stronger than someone resurrecting from the dead. "It's actually still in my mother-in-law's." "What are you thinking?" Zhong Yuan was almost furious with this woman, his expression instantly distorted, and he yelled ferociously, "You bastard! Get out of here, you're a burden." Seeing this, Mao Wei quickly carried Unkage on his back and ran away without saying anything. He was heartbroken and murmured, "I'm sorry, brother Xuanming. I owe you my life. You must survive." Not to mention Wu Jun, dragging Jiao Tan Bear with his left hand and dragging Jiao Tan Zhan with his right hand, they also ran away desperately. None of them wanted to let down Zhong Yuan for coming forward. He could obviously stay on the ground until Robuz destroyed himself. However, he didn't do that. He stood up. It would be too stupid to talk about sharing life and death and never retreat at this time. Unkage's tears wet Mao Wei's back. "I never shed tears easily, but I couldn't stop crying that night." On the battlefield, all the idle people retreated. The two dueling men stood far apart, about 20 meters apart. Zhong Yuan's expression remained relaxed and he said, "You don't have much time, and I don't have much time. Let's win with one move." Robuz agreed, "You have no chance to make a second move. I will burn you to ashes instantly without causing you any pain. In fact, I really admire you. You are very brave. You didn't have to die." Zhong Yuan said calmly, "I don't like fighting and killing either. But we have different positions and we can only be enemies. Thank you for your appreciation, but I still have to tell you that the person who died must not be me." Ice-blooded explosion. In an instant, Zhong Yuan's aura suddenly increased. Compared with what he was before, he was completely different from what he was now. Robuz trembled with excitement and lost his voice. "Is this your true strength? I didn't expect that I could fight against a strong man like you before I died." At this moment, he regained the innocence of his youth. "At that time, I was just pursuing a higher and stronger state. Every time I made progress, I could bring supreme joy. I don't know when it started, but the happiness became less and less, and finally it was completely gone. Robuz had mixed feelings, and Zhong Yuan had no time to talk. Numerous reminders appeared again. Your ability, super perception, has been improved. You have gained new abilities, thermal blast pressure, disaster level, and can be upgraded. Your ability, Ice Ning, has been improved. You have gained a new ability, Eternal Ice Domain, disaster level, cannot be upgraded. Your ability, Regeneration, has been improved. You have gained a new ability, Immortality, red level, and can be upgraded. Your ability, Furious Strike, has been improved. You have gained a new ability, Fighting Master. Red level, can be upgraded. Fighting Master, you are born to kill. You are proficient in any kind of weapon. You can take away the enemy's life with every move you make. Eternal Ice Realm cannot deal with Robuz, because the coldness of the ice domain is limited and does not reach absolute zero. It cannot be upgraded to the disaster level. Right now, the only way to defeat Robuz is that move. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 56: Green Mountains and Clear Waters, a place where crystals are buried. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thermal explosion pressure. Extract the temperature in the air to form a thermobaric layer with a maximum range of no more than 10,000 meters. The last time I turned on the ice-blooded explosion, my mind reminded me that I had given information about the thermal explosion pressure. At that time, Zhong Yuan did not understand what it meant and did not use it. After going back, I thought about it carefully for a long time before I roughly understood what was going on. Extracting the temperature in the air, according to the ability explanation, can theoretically reduce the temperature to absolute zero. In this state, light will freeze. Time will become nothingness, and all molecules will stop moving. The so-called thermobaric layer should be a region infinitely close to a vacuum. The maximum is no more than 10,000 meters. With Zhong Yuan's current strength, it is certainly impossible to reach such a terrifying range, maybe just a few meters or so. However, all matter within this range will disappear. Deadly, no solution. This is what happened when the super sense was upgraded to the disaster level. How unreasonable would it be if it were upgraded again? Zhong Yuan really couldn't imagine it. The moment the ice-blooded explosion was activated, he used the hot explosive pressure without hesitation. It seems like nothing happened. The surroundings are peaceful. Seeing him standing still, Robuz couldn't help but mocked. What? Don't you want to take action? Let me see your trick. Or are you just bluffing and trying to delay time? Zhong Yuan said seriously, I have already taken action. Robuz was stunned for a moment, then laughed. What trick? No pain, no itching, no feeling at all. The body temperature of the fire giant in the second stage is as high as 10,000 degrees. Even if the surrounding temperature changes drastically, it will not be noticed for a while. Robuz said in a deep voice, if you only have this ability, then you might as well die. Crush it with all your strength and burn this kid to ashes. Zhong Yuan did not hide or evade, he stood there without any defense. Don't forget, after opening the ice blood explosion, you will regenerate and upgrade to an immortal body, immune to any damage and negative effects, invincible state. Why hide? Zhong Yuan looked at his opponent calmly. The flames are extinguishing rapidly. He is about to die, but he doesn't know it yet. He couldn't help but say, if you have any last words, you can say them now. Robuz couldn't help but be furious. What last words? You kid looks down on me too much. Die. Just as he was about to attack, Robuz was shocked to find that the fire giant's power disappeared quickly. Not only that, an invisible barrier appeared around him. Want to go around, turn left, turn right, tried all directions, front and back, but hit a wall everywhere. At some point, he was imprisoned, and he could only feel himself weakening before his eyes. Robuz was horrified, but couldn't make a sound. Zhong Yuan explained to him calmly, after all, a person transforms into a flame, and it must be burning with oxygen. After my ability is activated, you cannot burn it in an infinite vacuum area. Robust was stunned and couldn't understand what he was saying when he opened and closed his lips. he only knew that the fire giant was immune to most physical attacks and was nearly invincible. Even in the lighthouse country, there are only a few people who can defeat the fire giant. The influence of Hua Guishu's capable people on a global scale is not high, and their abilities are mediocre. Unexpectedly, someone can restrain the flame giant. Unfortunately, there is no way to bring this important information back to the Pentagon. The 4-meter-high body dropped back to 3 meters and continued to shrink. After returning to 2 meters, the flames completely subsided. A man's figure stood out from the firelight, the elemental form disappeared, the ultra-high temperature flame of 10,000 degrees was completely extinguished without even touching the corner of Zhong Yuan's clothes. Robuz looked at the cracked body with disbelief. Am I back to a human body? How is this possible? Unfortunately, it is an irreversible fact that cells are damaged by high temperature, and they will eventually die. Robuz felt a little relieved instead. Fortunately, he died in human form and not a ball of fire. Half of his head was split open, and other parts of his body were cracking. Zhong Yuan silently removed the ability of thermal blast. Fresh air surrounded Robuz again. At the last moment, he said in a pleading tone, I have a daughter named Joanna. If there is a chance in the future, please tell her that I am sorry for her in this life and failed to fulfill my responsibilities as a father. That before he finished speaking, Robuz's vitality was completely cut off, and his body turned into countless tiny ashes. Falling to the ground, a strange blood-red crystal fell from the sky and fell into the pile of ashes. At the same time, the time for the ice-blooded explosion has passed. This time, Zhong Yuan was not as embarrassed as last time. Although the world was spinning and his eyes were covered with black snowflakes, he did not lose consciousness completely. After resting on the spot for a while and applying another regeneration to himself, Zhong Yuan gradually got used to his weak state. When you are unsteady and swaying to the left, just deliberately sway to the right and you'll be fine. Zhong Yuan walked steadily towards Rob's ashes. Pull out the strange crystal from the ashes. The thing was still hot, and when it touched the palm of my hand, the simulated gloves and the skin were instantly burnt. Then, a prompt appeared in my mind. If you find a foreign crystal, will you absorb it? This alien species crystal has the following abilities. Julie, red level LV3, cannot be upgraded. Copper skin and iron bones, red level LV2, cannot be upgraded. Fire giant, disaster level LV1, cannot be upgraded. Zhong Yuan looked solemn. The questions I once asked my instructor in class finally had answers. After the death of a Su-capable person, Su crystals will also explode. The alien crystal in his hand contains robust's ability, which can be absorbed by others. Moreover, the ruin crystals condensed by humans are definitely more suitable for humans to absorb, and the success rate must be extremely high. Once word spreads about this matter, it will inevitably trigger a world-class bloody storm. From now on, there is no need to work hard to absorb the Su crystals of foreign races, just absorb the Su crystals left by the predecessors. However, Robust's legacy abilities are not upgradable. This should be the limitation of the alien crystal. Now that I have something in hand, I wonder if I want to absorb it. Zhong Yuan thought for a while and decided to give up. Although the ability is good, there is no growth potential. Moreover, the symbol is too strong and can easily arouse suspicion after being used. On top of that, the fire giant's second phase causes his body to collapse. Zhong Yuan didn't want to burn out inexplicably one day, so what should we do with this ruined crystal? Turn it over to the country? Just kidding, it's too shocking and turning it in will only cause all kinds of unnecessary trouble. Show humanitarian spirit and return it to the family of the deceased. That's even more impossible. Zhong Yuan would not be stupid enough to send food to the lighthouse country and then ask them to create another strong man of Robu's level. After thinking for a moment, I decided to bury it. Shenangjia has beautiful scenery of green mountains and green waters. Being buried here doesn't mean it's an insult to you. Zhong Yuan found a bare soil slope, quickly dug a deep pit with a dagger, and then threw Rob's crystal into it. After filling in the soil and solidifying the ground, another strong wave of dizziness hit. It's hard to come to Shenangjia, but you can't go back empty-handed. Zhong Yuan gritted his teeth and stared at the 3 corpses not far away. He didn't forget the backpack behind the body. The things inside are all his trophies. Chapter 57 Divine Skill. Permanently Enhanced Charm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They traveled thousands of miles to enter the country illegally, and sent a strong man like Robs. They must be plotting the precious Su crystals in the Shenangjia Fangjia. Now, all these Su crystals belong to Zhong. Unfortunately, Rob's backpack has been burned, and some of the Su crystals that fell on the ground were collected by the God of War team. There are still 3 backpacks left, and the Su crystals inside should be considerable. Zhong Yuan opened a bag with great anticipation. Sure enough, it was full of Su crystals, at least hundreds of them. The shape is very beautiful, hexagonal, transparent, and very pure. After digging a little, the backpack is full of this beautiful transparent Su crystal. The number is considerable. If you absorb the power in it, it is enough to upgrade to a very high realm. Although Zhong Yuan is still dizzy, he is in a very good mood. He was inexplicably dragged to the Fangjia, tossed for most of the night, and even opened an ice blood explosion. All the efforts were finally not in vain. Let me see what abilities it has. Pinching a ruin crystal in his hand, a prompt appeared in his mind. I found a cute bear ruin crystal. Do you want to absorb it? The cute bear ruin crystal has the following abilities. Being cute, yellow level, upgradable. That's it. That's all. Zhong Yuan was stunned. It looks beautiful and shiny on the surface, but it only has one ability. Trash. The best of the trash. Zhong Yuan was so angry that he almost threw the ruined crystal in his hand away. However, he thought again, no, it's a whole bag of cute bear ruined crystals. Rob's team came here just for this thing. They stayed in the Fangjia for more than 10 days and fought so many. Could it be a trash that is useless? So, what exactly is the ability of being cute? The prompt appeared again. Being cute, improve your charm and reduce the hostility of the target. Range, unlimited. Zhong Yuan was full of black lines. Is it similar to a mental attack? It can be upgraded. Well, this alone is very exciting. Don't forget that super perception was just a reconnaissance ability at first. Who knew that after the upgrade, it turned into a terrifying thermal explosion pressure, which put people into an absolute vacuum and crushed them to ashes. Disaster level is not its limit. Therefore, every yellow level skill that can be upgraded is a potential stock that cannot be underestimated. Zhong Yuan's hands trembled a little, imagining what he would look like when he turned on the cuteness. Forget it. Thinking too much will cause more troubles. Don't think about it anymore. Let's see what kind of ruins crystals are in the other 2 backpacks. With a hint of expectation in his heart, Zhong Yuan opened another backpack. However, there was not a single ruins crystal in it, only a strange little beast. It curled up obediently, and when it was released from the backpack, it was still dazed, with its 2 paws covering its eyes, as if it was not used to the light stimulation when it was out of the darkness. Zhong Yuan patted it hard, and the little animal got up and looked around curiously. Its body was round and slightly larger than a basketball. Its fur was soft and white, and its limbs, ears, and eye circles were black hair. Mini panda. Zhong Yuan was completely shocked. No, it's not a panda. Pandas have short tails, but this little animal's tail is thick, long, and furry. It's a cute bear cub. Zhong Yuan determined the species of the little animal and couldn't help it. He reached out and stroked its tail, so soft. So smooth. So cute. And it didn't resist at all, and let me do whatever I wanted. Who wouldn't like such a little animal? If I bring one back to Zhong Lan, she will definitely hold it in her hands and play with it every day. Zhong Yuan stroked the cute bear a few times and opened the last backpack. Alas, there was also an unconscious cute bear cub inside. Zhong Yuan observed for a few seconds and found that the 2 cubs were a male and a female, just a perfect match. If they were brought back to the lighthouse country for breeding, they would soon be able to breed a tribe. I see. Zhong Yuan was furious. The people of the lighthouse country are really worthy of death. Fortunately, they were intercepted, otherwise the cute bears would have been leaked out. Why do I think so? This little bear doesn't have any powerful killing ability. Why do I think it is comparable to a national treasure? Zhong Yuan narrowed his eyes and stared at the 2 cubs. After they came out of the backpack, they instantly fell in love with each other, and started kissing each other, playing together. If a cute bear rolled around in front of you, you might just want to pet it at most. But when two cute bears slapped each other in front of you, oh no, you slapped one and I slapped two, you would definitely think they were simply cute. Breaking the sky. The world. Zhong Yuan took a step back in shock and said in a lost voice, I understand. Acting cute is not a mental attack, but a subtle change of human consciousness. This ability is rare, no wonder the people of Lighthouse Country risked their lives to take it back for research. Should I absorb the ability of acting cute? Zhong Yuan struggled for a long time, and finally, calmness and reason overcame likes and dislikes and prejudices. Or, absorb it. The transparent Su crystal turned into a gorgeous colorful light and drilled into his body. It worked. One more skill. In fact, Su crystals with a single skill like Meng Meng Bear are extremely rare, and it is not easy to absorb successfully. Because there is only one ability in Su crystal, and if you fail, there is no other choice. Ruin crystals with 4 abilities, such as the Frost Snake, are more popular on the black market. Even if the probability of 2 abilities is extremely small, the success rate of the other 2 abilities is high, so you can give it a try. Of course, the ruined crystals that only contain one super ability are definitely in high demand and are in short supply. Zhong Yuan absorbed the cuteness to bet on its changes after upgrading. After counting the number, there are more than 200 ruined crystals in total. While there is no one around, quickly absorb them all. Whoosh! A huge rainbow light penetrated into Zhong Yuan's body. He was like a treasure made of top-grade glass, shining brightly. Cute, yellow level LV max. Your ability cute has been upgraded. Cute, blue level LV max. Your ability cute has been upgraded. Zhong Yuan roared wildly in his heart, it's almost red level, let's have an epic promotion and change the skill name. The prompt appeared. You have acquired a new ability, Super Cute. Red level LV2, upgradable. Super Cute, permanently improve your charm and make the target lose hostility. Range, unlimited. The ability description does not seem to have changed much. It is not important whether there is a change or not, because, grass is a plant. Zhong Yuan looked depressed, more like a dead person than a dead person. If he went to the horror house to play a zombie now, he would scare people to death. Upgraded to red level, the name of the ability actually only added a prefix, not as good as the initial cute. At this moment, he has not realized how amazing Super Cute is. And, no one in the world has this ability like him, because Cute Bear is a rare harmless alien, it is strictly forbidden to hunt. After a long while, Zhong Yuan cheered up, calculating the time. 10 minutes have passed since Rob's defeat. If Encage is loyal enough, he should come back to collect his body by now. Chapter 58. Flowers have feelings, but water is ruthless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the other side, Mao Wei quickly left the battlefield with Encage on his back. The flame giant has long since disappeared. Old Mao. Put me down. No need to run. Encage held Zhong Yuan's badge tightly and said in a very low mood, the battle is over. Our God of War team has entrusted the responsibility of the battle to a temporary member. As the captain, I bear the primary responsibility. Mao Wei gradually slowed down and whispered, Captain, it's not your fault. No one expected that Robuz would transform into a flame giant for the second time. Encage's eyes were red and she said loudly, it's not my fault, then whose fault is it? I didn't consider that Robuz had a second stage. It was me who killed Xuanming. She originally thought Xuanming was quite powerful, but after seeing his badge, she finally figured out a lot of things. All the words that have been said are played back and forth in Encage's mind like a revolving lantern. You must have a good relationship. Are you his junior? No, we are friends. How is your strength? Answer seriously, this is very important. The kind that can't die. I'm here, you want me to stay and sleep? How can you pray to your enemy? Didn't you hear him say that he can only live for 5 more minutes at most, and he is ready to take all of us down? Get out of here if you're a burden. Although we only got together for half a night, they were like comrades who had been partners for many years, relying on each other and trusting each other. Xuanming saved the entire God of War team, and everyone here owes him a life. Thinking of this, Cage couldn't help but shed tears again. She suppressed her grief and choked with sobs. Old Mao, go back with me and don't let him wait too long. Wu Jun took Zhan Hong and Lao Xiong out for treatment. Understood. Mao Wei nodded solemnly. Wu Jun said nothing and dragged the two seriously injured people towards the exit of Fangjia. A few minutes later, Cage and Mao Wei returned to the camp where the life-and-death duel was held. Approaching within 100 meters, Mao Wei cautiously used his investigative capabilities. Then, with a look of shock on his face, he suddenly stopped. What's wrong? That even if you feel extremely sad, you still have the most basic vigilance. Cage poked his head out from behind Mao Wei and looked forward nervously. In sight, a young man wearing camouflage uniforms was sitting on the scorched earth without any vegetation. When he saw them coming, he raised his head and complained dissatisfiedly. It's too slow, all the flowers I've been waiting for have withered. At this moment, Cage's heartbeat suddenly stopped. Immediately. Plop. Plop. Plop, plop, plop. His heart was beating faster and louder, the blood all over his body rushed straight to his forehead, and his cheeks felt as hot as if they were on fire, and Cage's throat couldn't help but make an unprecedented loud vibrato. Xuanming. She excitedly jumped off Mao Wei's back and rushed towards Zhong Yuan regardless of her own safety. Then, she hit something unknown under her feet, and her center of gravity became unstable. She fell forward, face down, but up, and she fell into the mud. Surprised or not? Is it surprising? A great bowing ceremony. Zhong Yuan, it's really surprising. It hurts, it hurts. Cage's eyes were filled with stars and tears were streaming down her face. Mao Wei was first surprised that Xuanming was not dead, and then fell into deep thought when he saw his captain lying on the ground. Do you want to go up and help her up? Maybe the captain hopes Xuanming will come over to help her. However, after waiting for 2 seconds, someone made no move. Cage had no choice but to stumble and struggle to stand up. Hoo ho ho, she breathed quickly and looked around, but saw no sign of Robuz. Obviously, in the end of the duel between the two, Robuz died, but Xuanming survived. Xuanming, I knew you wouldn't die. Cage was so excited that she limped to Zhong Yuan's side, pretending that the fall never happened. Zhong Yuan said calmly, I told you a long time ago that I can't die. Huh? Don't you believe me? No. No. Under his gaze, Cage's face turned red and she felt a little flustered. She hurriedly said, Xuanming, are you injured? Bear with me and I'll call the medical team in right away. His tone was very different, a little more tender than usual. Mao Wei turned around silently and secretly wiped the tears from his eyes. Our captain has finally grown up. What's wrong with the other party being young? Female junior, holding a gold brick. Female student, holding 3 gold bricks. A quarter of an hour later, the Tianqin team entered Fangjia to pick up the triumphant return of the God of War team. Quick! This way! 2 wounded people with severe burns. Be careful, put them on the stretcher first. Logistics team. Be careful not to damage the integrity of the body. All the ashes there must be recovered as well. Captain, you look very ugly. Let the medical staff treat you. Various people were running around, and treatment and cleanup work were carried out in an orderly manner. There is another little comrade here who has lost excessive blood and needs an emergency blood transfusion. Someone finally noticed Zhong Yuan, ran over and asked loudly, what's your blood type? Is it okay to have a blood transfusion? Zhong Yuan quickly refused, I'm not injured, I'm just a little tired and I don't need a blood transfusion. The man hesitated and said, but your face looks ugly. Zhong Yuan said seriously, I was born with a pale face. Many people say I look like a European. Unexpectedly, the man blushed, lowered his head shyly, and whispered, well, if you feel uncomfortable, be sure to tell me, I will come to treat you right away. This is my phone number. What does that mean? Why does it sound like a flirt? Zhong Yuan looked a little unnatural, and said, thank you. It's really not necessary. That after much persuasion, he sent the man away. After a while, Encage also got rid of the medical siege and came to Zhong Yuan. You can leave in a while, I'll take you back first. I'm sorry for getting you involved and almost killing you. Don't worry, I'll take care of the rest, and no one will bother you. Meaning, it doesn't matter how Robs died, it doesn't matter where the things in their backpacks went, if the higher-ups investigate, she will take it all. Isn't it just a little bit of Su crystal? I'll give it to you. Encage still has this confidence, Zhong Yuan said strangely. Don't you care about what's in the backpacks of those people from the lighthouse country? Encage said softly, if you don't want to say, I won't ask. Anyway, it's all you deserve. Who doesn't like such a captain? However, Zhong Yuan has not decided whether to join the God of War team. After thinking it over again and again, he decided to inform Encage of the whereabouts of the spoils. 3 backpacks, one of them contained Ruin's crystal, I dealt with it. There are 2 backpacks, each with a cute bear cub, I released them. Oh. Encage lowered her eyes and didn't care about these at all. Zhong Yuan's eyelids twitched, and he felt that she was not right. She shed too many tears and became stupid. Are you okay? At this time, Encage suddenly raised her head and asked carefully, Xuanming, do you think a 25-year-old girl is old? Is she an old aunt? Zhong Yuan answered without hesitation, of course, she is 9 years older than me. Encage covered her face and ran away quickly. Chapter 59 Returning Triumphantly, Sent to School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhan Hong and Xiong Yuba were seriously burned and were sent directly to the local hospital for treatment. The helicopter took off again, and there were only 3 people left in the cabin. It had been almost an hour since we flew out, and the atmosphere was very quiet, and no one spoke. Mao Wei sat in the driver's seat without saying a word, and wanted to confront Encage and Zhong Yuan. You two can chat casually. Just treat me as a transparent person. Unfortunately, after that embarrassing age issue, Encage was too embarrassed to chat with Zhong Yuan again. She was thin-skinned and had never had a boyfriend before. Now I have a vague liking for the opposite sex, and I am so young, I am really not sure what this feeling is. Maybe it's the kind of liking for my younger brother. He has read the note I wrote to Feng Yuma. Will he think I am a casual girl? I am fickle, I am a playboy, I am so bad. While Encage was thinking about all kinds of things, Zhong Yuan was also thinking that what he said before might be too much. So, is she 25 years old? Baby face, can't tell. Calling her an aunt seemed to hit her hard. The atmosphere was dull and a little depressing. In fact, Zhong Yuan's sole age was in his early 20s, only a few years younger than Encage, barely the same generation. After thinking for a moment, he decided to take the initiative to break the deadlock and said, Captain, in fact, 25 years old is not too old, just the childbearing age. In another 3 years, it will be late marriage and late childbearing. Mao Wei pricked up his ears for gossip, and his heart was filled with joy. Good guy. Xuanming is so awesome. They are talking about marriage now, and even making a little man is on the agenda. He didn't know about the previous conversation between the two. In fact, Zhong Yuan was just talking about something that was not related to the topic, and it just hit Encage's sore spot. Encage said angrily, you mean, if I don't have a child at my age, it's over, right? Zhong Yuan was so annoyed that he said, no. What do you mean? Encage bit her lower lip and glared at him angrily. You think I'm an old lady? Alas, I'm so tired. Talking to an unreasonable woman is harder than fighting. Zhong Yuan couldn't help but worry. What if this girl is unhappy and doesn't send him back to Shandong City? A willful woman can do anything. At the same time, Encage became more and more sad. What's wrong with being 25 years old? A young woman in her prime. As a result, in this boy's mouth, she became a leftover woman who would marry and have children late in 3 years and no one wanted her. Damn it, you should say something nice and comfort me. Straight men can't hear the voice of girls. Zhong Yuan only knew that she suddenly became unreasonable, inexplicable. How old am I? How old are you? Am I wrong to call you aunt? Do older girls care so much about age? Seeing that the anger on Enkei's face was about to burst out completely, Zhong Yuan was inspired and whispered, "Super." Enkei was stunned and raised her eyebrows, "Super. Super cute." Dishes, Zhong Yuan directly activated the newly absorbed ability, "It's up to you. Let her shut up." Enkei was still wondering what he was super. After thinking for a moment, she still didn't understand. She couldn't help but doubt and asked worriedly, "Xuanming, what did you say just now?" Zhong Yuan's mouth twitched. "Grass is a plant, the new ability failed and is useless." He turned his head and felt depressed. However, it was just a simple action, but it was quite subtle in Enkei's eyes. He was angry. She blushed and found that she was indeed too persistent. Why bother with a 16-year-old boy? Enkei sighed and said softly, "It's all your fault for acting so mature that I had the illusion that we were the same age." "I'm sorry, don't be angry." Zhong Yuan was startled and said in a barely perceptible voice, "I'm not angry." The age issue was finally put aside, and Enkei took out the badge that he kept close to his body and handed it to Zhong Yuan reluctantly, saying, "I'll give it back to you." That it was still a little warm, Zhong Yuan put it in his shirt pocket and said, "Do you want to know how robes died?" Enkei was entangled and said, "As long as you are alive." "Anyway, we successfully completed the mission and successfully prevented our country's unique ruins crystal from flowing into the lighthouse country." When a woman tells you, I don't want, I ate, it is basically a sarcastic remark. Zhong Yuan said seriously, "Ask if you want to, I'll tell you." Mao Wei continued to listen to them with his ears perked up. He was really interested in the details of the last battle. "Captain. Hurry up. Ask." Unexpectedly, Enkei changed the subject. "Okay. Then I'll ask you. What's your ranking on the youth list? Why didn't you tell me?" That she took the time to look at the list, and the 68th place was indeed Xuanming, and Fenyu Mo was below him. "Great. Playing the pig to eat the tiger, right? What is the strength of not dying?" Enkei put her hands on her waist and said with a piercing look, "Explain it to me, Xuanming master." Zhong Yuan could hardly keep up with her train of thought. After all this time, the thing he cared about was actually this? He scratched his hair in embarrassment and whispered, "You can't always tell everyone that I have a badge to prove that I am a master. Besides, I don't think I am that great. It was pure luck that I was able to defeat Fenyu Mo. I won't be able to win next time." When sparring with friends, of course it is impossible to use the ice blood explosion and use the killer. Under normal circumstances, Zhong Yuan is not confident of winning. Super cuteness is being activated. Continuously activated, and Enkei's eyes are straight. He is so powerful, but still so humble. Excessive modesty is arrogance. However, I didn't feel this uncomfortable quality from him at all. He really doesn't think he is great. Enkei couldn't help it, rushed forward and rubbed Zhong Yuan's hair, jumping up and down. "I told you to be humble. I told you to be humble. What do you want? You are just a high school student." Zhong Yuan. 3 hours later, the helicopter returned to the fisherman's wharf in Upper East City again. It was almost dawn. "The time of parting will eventually come," Enkei said softly. "Xuanming, how about I take you back to school?" Zhong Yuan was rubbed by her all the way, with messy hair. He declined and said, "I can go back by myself." Enkei snorted, "To put it bluntly, you just don't want me to know which school you go to, right?" "What a smart guy." Zhong Yuan said expressionlessly, "Anyway, you are a major, and you can find out with a check. Women in love have low IQs." Enkei circled her fingers and said, "But, I want to send the Buddha to the West." Zhong Yuan was overwhelmed and said directly to Mao Wei, "Brother Mao, I'm going to go down, please stop for a while." Mao Wei asked in confusion, "Are you sure you don't need to send me to school? It's very fast to fly there." Zhong Yuan shook his head, "No trouble, let's say goodbye here." Mao Wei glanced at his captain and smiled, "I'll send you back. Schools usually have helipads, we can just land." "Is it Qingying or Hualing?" Enkei was shocked and a bright smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. "Lao Mao, well done." There was no point in insisting any longer. Zhong Yuan could only say sullenly, "Qingying." Chapter 60. Do you aspire to become the strongest free man? You are listening at novelfull.audio. 5:30 in the morning, the control tower of Chengying College received a military signal. This is the God of War team of the East China Military Region, number D1351. Chengying College Control Tower, please reply when you receive it. Chengying College Control Tower, please answer when you receive it. It's been an unknown number of years since military aircraft landed on the Academy's tarmac. The logistics staff responsible for navigation are still fast asleep. When I received the signal, I was confused and thought I was dreaming. Chengying College, please reply when you receive it. I don't know how many times it rang, but logistics finally woke up from a dream and shuddered, and his whole body jumped up like a spring. What's going on? I didn't receive any notification that someone from the military will come to the academy today. The logistics staff did not dare to let the plane land on their own initiative, so they hurriedly reported the matter to the top management of the college. Is it okay to recognize the signal? Are you sure it's the God of War team? Report to the principal. Confirmed. Are they allowed to land? What nonsense. Give them permission to land quickly. Don't neglect it. The principal rubbed his hands excitedly. The God of War team is one of the top 10 teams in the East China Military Region. Why did they suddenly come to Chengying College? Do you want to select team members from among the college's graduates in advance? The principal was furious and rushed into someone's dormitory personally. Sheng Guanyi. Get up quickly. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is here. Who are you? Why do you have the key to my room? Sheng Guanyi rubbed his groggy eyes and almost gave the intruder a blow to cut off his descendants. Seeing that it was the principal, he slowly sat up and picked up the school uniform lying beside him. The principal said hurriedly, "This is no good. It must be more formal. Let me tell you, the God of War team has come to our academy. The captain of their team, Nkage, is the youngest major in our military region, and she is also a super beauty." Sheng Guanyi curled his lips. As the principal, you call our school's uniforms trash. What I mean is that the school uniform is not formal enough. It doesn't reflect your temperament. People will be here soon, please wash your face and mouth quickly. The principal stamped his feet anxiously. He is Sheng Guanyi's biological uncle. The two have different surnames and have no close contact on campus. Basically no one knows that they are related. At the critical moment, the uncle still has to take care of his nephew. Sheng Guanyi yawned. Before Lao Qing woke up, he was called up to greet someone from the God of War team. I'm sick. What time is it? Even if you want to pick someone, don't do it so early. I said, Principal Chen. Principal Chen corrected him with twitching eyes, call uncle. Okay, uncle, so what if the people from the God of War team are here? With my ability, I won't have to look at their faces. Sheng Guanyi said proudly, I have already had 6 Su Ning user squads apply to join the team. As long as I fill in the form, they will approve it. Among them, the Nighthawks in the Eastern Theater and the Bayonet Squad in the Central Theater are not inferior to the Ares Squad. What a strong team. Principal Chen was quite pleased and said, you are the pride of our whole family. But Xiaoyi, you may not know that our commanderate in the Eastern Theater District only has an only daughter, captain and of the God of War team. Think about it, should you follow her or follow other captains? Sheng Guanyi's expression finally changed. The commander's daughter enjoys secret conveniences that outsiders cannot imagine. It's like he, the principal's nephew, not only gets the student union subsidy for free, but also secretly enjoys the special teacher's subsidy. Just go. I want to see what kind of beauty she is. He snorted nonchalantly, but in reality, he quickly washed up and found a formal suit from the closet to put on, white shirt, black-waisted short suit with matching trousers, and a dark gray tie. This time, Sheng Guanyi looked completely different. Much of the childishness has faded away, replaced by a high-spirited and mature demeanor. Principal Chen looked very satisfied. Sure enough, a horse needs a saddle and a man needs clothes. My nephew is a talented person and everyone loves him. Okay, you can go. Seize the opportunity and perform well. Sheng Guan was full of fighting spirit and said, I got it. In fact, Principal Chen has another idea in mind, that it would be best if Shangguani could capture Nkei's heart in one fell swoop, and then he could be related to Commander N. What does the age difference of 6 or 7 years mean? They are all young people anyway, so there is no generation gap. On the other side, after waiting in the air for more than 10 minutes, Mao Wei finally received the landing permission from Qingying College. It's too bad, the response speed is really slow. If it were within the military region, with this efficiency, they would all be dismissed. On the helicopter, Zhong Yuan was a little confused as to why he didn't just descend. Isn't it just a stop? So much trouble, Nkei explained. Qingying College and Hualing College are both schools secretly trained by the state to train people with abilities. They are very special. 1 kilometer near the school is a semi-military zone. If we don't get permission to land, we are likely to be attacked. Causing the helicopter to be shot down. The Ruins Ability Team has far more permissions than ordinary security forces, but they can't act haphazardly and must abide by the rules. Zhong Yuan always felt that these words were said to him on purpose, and said quietly, "You are from the Su Ability Team, and I am a high school student." Nkei said with a smile, "Don't be like that, you will always join in the future." After saying that, she suddenly thought of something and said, "I remembered that it doesn't matter if I don't join the team. There is another choice." Zhong Yuan was stunned and asked, "What choice?" Nkei said seriously, "Jiushu, a special task department directly under the jurisdiction of Shangjing City. This department consists of 9 people, each of whom is equivalent to the strength of a team. They usually perform special tasks alone. Any team that performs a particularly difficult task can also borrow 1 person from Jiushu. So, Jiushu is also known as the strongest free man team. It is the most confidential existence in China. Only the most comprehensive and capable people can join. The treatment is also first class." Nkei's eyes were shining, and her face was full of expectation. "How about Xuanming, did it arouse your interest?" Zhong Yuan's mood was calm, and he said decisively, "Not interested." "Huh? Why?" Nkei almost knelt down to him. "I said so much passionately, but it was all in vain. Back then, when she learned about the Jiushu department, she was very eager to join. Unfortunately, she had too many shortcomings and was only suitable to be a commander. She couldn't even pass the first level of the Jiushu assessment. She never expected that Xuanming was not interested. Which teenager of his age is not fighting for his dream? He is not interested in anything. Why did he become a Su Ning?" At this time, Mao Wei said loudly, "Captain, the Qingying College Control Tower sent a message saying that the principal and the college's senior management want to meet with you. They seem to think that we are here to recruit people, and they also brought student representatives, who are waiting below. What do you think, how to reply?"